What's up, YouTube? Fresh out the gym in front of my building. I usually do this. You see downtown LA, big ass buildings and shit. It feel good as fuck out here, man. It's been humid as fuck in LA for the last couple of days. But I used to wear a hoodie when I work out, and I came out here expecting it to be all humid and hot as fuck, but it's nice right now. Real nice. So look, so the topic today is this, man. Paralysis by analysis. Paralysis by analysis. Now, what is that? Paralysis by analysis, and it's going to be a real quick one. I'm not going to hold you for too long. I'm going to give you a little bit of my experience with my paralysis by analysis and what I've done to break the shit. All right? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that type of shit. But look, my paralysis by analysis was this. So basically what it is you get a new subject, right? Something you want to learn, something you want to do, new business, new investment strategy, and you analyze every damn T to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with analyzing something before you get into it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you analyze it so much that you paralyze yourself from taking action. Now, this shit happens quite a bit. Like, you get, especially now that we're in the information age where if you want to learn how to do anything, all you got to do is Google search it or YouTube search it, and the shit'll pop up. It's not that hard, right? So, perfect example with me. When I first started learning about real estate wholesaling, when I first started learning about the shit, it was something that I was a little bit intimidated of getting into. I was intimidated of it. You know what I mean? Because it was so different from any industry I've ever been into. I've never been in an industry where you can make 100K in one sale. You know, I've sold everything. I've literally sold, when I was 15, I started selling watches. I would get watches at the flea market and sell them at school. I'll get them for like $8 and sell them for $30. I was making $100 a day doing that at 15 years old. I started selling Lacoste polos at one point. I used to sell Jordans. I've sold iPads. I've sold MacBooks. I've sold TVs. I've sold everything. I even sold Dreams to rappers for almost 10 years when I owned my PR firm. And every time I got into something like that, it was like, you know, you get butterflies before you make that first move. It's like the first game of the season in Little League. You get butterflies before you get that first hit, and then you're like, all right, I'm in it. You feel me? So my paralysis by analysis when I got into real estate was I kind of questioned myself, like, am I ready to be selling houses? You know what I mean? Don't only got to be a dude in a suit or fucking suit and tie, some shit like that. And I'm not that type of guy. If anybody knows me personally, you know I'm a t-shirt and jeans nigga to the T. You know, am I going to use the right verbiage or whatever? So I learned about wholesaling and real estate a good 6 months before I jumped out there and went on my first appointment. And it wasn't because I couldn't have went on my first appointment in the first couple of weeks or the first couple of months or the first month or two. It was because I was intimidated. I was literally like, shit, you know, what would have happened if the person asked me this? So I learned about real estate wholesaling in March, and I didn't even try to go on my first appointment in real estate wholesaling until about November. So it was about October. But it was shit. It was damn near half a year. You know what I mean? So when I got into it, I went on my first appointment. And the thing is, I knew the basics. I knew how to do my ARV, right? After repair value. I knew how to run comps. So I've always had mouthpiece, but I was always intimidated, like, damn, I'm literally going from making $1,500 per client on one client, one contract, $2,500, to now where I can make enough money in one deal to change my life. I can make somebody's whole annual salary in one deal. And it was intimidating. I'm not going to sit here and say I wasn't intimidated. I very much was. So I would always talk myself out of cold calling people to see if they wanted to sell their house. I would always talk myself out of setting an appointment. But then eventually it got to the point where I just said, fuck it. and I just jumped off the ledge. And I feel like this, man. I failed. My first four contracts, I tried to get into real estate wholesaling. I failed. I failed my very first one, my first appointment. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know anything about inspections. I didn't know anything about EMDs. I didn't know anything about how much the rehab would cost to get this house done. I didn't know any of that shit. I've overestimated the rehab cost on a house before. I've underestimated the house of a rehab cost. I've gotten a house in a contract at way too high of an ARV, after repair value. And this shit sounds like Japanese to you or a foreign language to you if you know nothing about real estate wholesaling. But the reason why I put my course together, the Varsity Class, was because I wanted to teach you or anybody that's looking to buy it, learn from my failures. I'm not going to just sit here and show you my Super Bowl trophies. It took me almost a whole fucking year to get my first deal. I had 6 months where I didn't even try. And in the next 6 months, I tried and I failed forward. And then eventually when I got my first deal was enough. Honestly, an annual salary for the average person in most cities and, most Midwest, I would say in the Midwest, I made fucking $33,500 on my first deal, but it took me almost a whole year to do it. And that's after 5 months of failing, 6 months of preparation, 5 months of failing. And then eventually I got my first deal. And it was just one of those things, man. It was one of those things. So paralysis by analysis, man, I'm telling you this to say this, is don't be afraid to jump off the ledge. Don't be afraid to fail. You're gonna fail. You might fuck up and fumble a bag where you could have made $100,000 on the deal. I've done that before. I had this one deal in Lamert Park here in LA. It was $950. It was $1 million house. The ARV might have been $950,000, and I had an opportunity to get this house at a much lower cost. But like I said in a previous video, everything is about the art of the follow-up. Especially in real estate, if you're not following up continuously over and over and over and over again, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna win, period. And in real estate, you might have to call somebody 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times before they're like, yeah, I'll sell you my house. So I had this brother that was looking to sell his house. He was in pre-foreclosure, and I called him 3 times. I didn't follow up with him a second time. I relied on somebody else to follow up with him, and they didn't do it. And I called him a week later, and he had already sold the house. That was a potential $155,000 deal I could have made, but I was relying on somebody else. So that's another thing. Don't rely on nobody else. Do it on your own. You know what I'm saying? Paralysis by analysis, straight up. But anyways, like I said, I've done it. Especially when I got into real estate, I definitely overanalyzed so much shit to the point to where it paralyzed me to where I wasn't even ready to jump out there and try and take a risk. But eventually when I did take a risk, I took some big ass risks. You know what I mean? So like I said, people that buy the Varsity Class, they don't buy it just to learn how to do real estate wholesaling, but they buy to learn from my mistakes. The mistakes that I tell you about in the course, me getting a deal under ARV way too high, or me not running the right comps, or me not estimating my rehab costs correctly. That shit could save you a good 6 months to a year worth of money you just throwing down the drain marketing. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like I said, man, the best way to learn is just jump off the ledge and start building your airplane on the way down. It sounds crazy, but if you want to make something happen and you want to live an extraordinary life, that's what you got to do. Because when it comes to things being extraordinarily dope or extraordinarily whack, it literally comes from action, extra action. You got to take action. All right? Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment this shit. And I'm going to get at y'all. Peace.